This is Josh Friedman coming to you from Mombasa, Kenya, a major East African port city and a city that is currently in the news for a variety of reasons. One of which is today's arrival of Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni. Museveni is flying into Mombasa today, where he will be greeted by Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta. It's going to be a 2-day visit for Museveni, who is scheduled to hold talks shortly with Kenyatta and later take a tour of the Mombasa port, which you cannot see from here, but is actually just located pretty much straight down this thoroughfare. Right now I'm in, the heart of Mombasa. This below me is Moi Avenue, named after the former Kenyan president, and the street basically goes right through the city center, taking you from the old town to the port, which is this direction, I believe, south of here. And the port, not just the city, is very much in the news, and I'll be heading over to that general area to discuss some bigger issues relating to the port. But for that matter, the visit of Museveni very much relates to the port, and even more so, it relates to the ongoing dispute between Rwanda and Uganda. Now, to recap that, as I have previously covered from both Rwanda and Uganda, there is a diplomatic crisis between the two landlocked neighboring countries here in the Central or East African region. Rwanda has accused Uganda of a whole load of offenses. They include arresting and harassing and jailing Rwandans in Uganda. The Rwandan government also accuses Uganda of supporting rebels and rebel groups that are trying to overthrow the Rwandan government. There are so many allegations of torture, and one of the main ones is the allegation of Ugandan authorities harassing Rwandan businessmen and cargo traffic or whatnot going through the country. Now, the cargo traffic amid this dispute had stalled on the Rwandan-Ugandan border. Rwanda closed the main border crossing to cargo traffic, at least to some degree, and started rerouting it out toward other crossings, and some of the trucks were getting through, some of them weren't. Now, how does this all tie back to Kenya, and specifically Mombasa and the port? Well, the port of Mombasa is basically the hub for cargo traffic and imports and exports in this East Africa region. In the East Africa region, there is what's known as the Northern Corridor. It's basically the main transport route of goods to and from the sea. So goods come in to the port in Mombasa, and then now more recently, which I'll be discussing in upcoming videos, they're starting to travel by rail, but they previously were traveling primarily by truck. So goods come in by boat, they're offloaded at the port here in Mombasa, and then their trucks are now taken by rail across Kenya and then into Uganda, and from there up to South Sudan or down into Rwanda, and not just stopping in Rwanda, but going further south into Burundi or heading west into the Democratic Republic of Congo, or some of the goods even head into Tanzania via the port here in Mombasa rather than from the port in Dar es Salaam. There's another route, a competing route in the region, where goods come in to the port in Dar es Salaam and then travel elsewhere. But the leading and most used route with the most cargo traffic starts right here in Mombasa. And there have been reports of Kenyan trucks, for instance, being backed up on the Rwandan-Ugandan border because of this spat between Rwanda and Uganda. So it's turned into not just a diplomatic crisis between those two countries, which, by the way, has now been going on for a month or more, but it's affecting trade and truck traffic throughout the region. And because of that, Kenyan President Kenyatta has been playing basically the mediator role. He's had talks already over, I think about a couple of weeks ago. He visited both Rwanda and Uganda, where he had talks with Rwandan President Paul Kagame and with Museveni of Uganda. And now Museveni is arriving here in Mombasa to spend a couple days here, presumably largely with Kenyatta. Their talks are supposed to be taking place at the Mombasa State House, probably just a matter of, I don't know, a few hours from now. And by the time I upload this video, the talks might already have been taking place. Then after the talks, Museveni will be touring the port. He'll be getting a look at this very significant location that has major geopolitical implications that I will be discussing in at least one upcoming video, if not more. But for now, I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update on the Rwanda-Uganda situation. This dispute is still ongoing. Paul Kagame is regularly discussing the issue in the media and at fora. He was at some, I think, African CEOs fora earlier this week where he's discussing it more. It seems like Rwanda, if anything, is doubling down on its allegations against Uganda. Uganda has denied some. I don't know if Uganda has denied all of the allegations, but the dispute is far from resolved. And now, with the understanding of how it connects to Kenya, specifically Mombasa, and how the Northern Corridor route works here in East and Central Africa, and how this can impact all 6 countries in the East African community, which I believe I've already named: Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda, South Sudan, and Burundi. So with this understanding, it gives you a clear picture on just how big of a deal this spat between the two presidents or strongmen of Rwanda and Uganda is. It has major trade implications, and it's a big embarrassment for this East African community, which is supposed to be an advanced trade bloc within the African Union and, of course, on the African continent. So there's a little more for you about the problems plaguing the East African community, and for a better look at this all, I will shortly be heading to the port, as well as to a terminus, or terminal, whatever you want to call it. They say terminus here, for a major railway that is a major geopolitical project that is based here in Mombasa, that ties to the port and also ties to China. So that coming up in upcoming videos. Goodbye for now from Mombasa.